Welcome back to another episode of Coffee in Christ, where he's Ron, I'm Joshua, and you are loved by God. Ron, when Tim Tebow played in the national championship for Florida, he had some eye black under his eyes, and on that eye black it had the most famous verse in the entire Bible, John 3:16. And I think John 3:16 is a great verse, but I think it's loved by so many people because it gives us the promise of God that we want to talk about today, and that is the promise of eternal life.
God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. The promise of God. Titus chapter 1, verses 1 and 2, Paul talks about how he became an apostle, and all of that was because of the fact that we live in hope of eternal life, which God, who cannot lie, promised long ages ago.
Right, and we talked earlier in a video about the God who cannot lie.
Absolutely.
And this is a promise that the God who cannot lie gave.
That's right.
Right. Now, I think when I think about eternal life, the passage in 1 Corinthians 15, where Paul says if we don't have hope in the resurrection, because it's a fact that unless the Lord's going to come back, we are all going to die. And we have hope, though, in this resurrection, that life is promised to us even though our bodies may be dead, our souls continue to live on.
There's several statements in that chapter that really bear on this wonderful promise of God. One of them is in verse 20, where the Bible says, "Now Christ has been raised from the dead, and that he is the first fruits of those who were asleep." And what that really means, you find out as you read through that chapter, is that his resurrection is the guarantee that one day we will be raised from the dead. Go over and read verse 50 through 57, and that's exactly what he's pointing out there. He says this perishable, that is this body that decays and dies, it is going to be changed. It is going to put on imperishable. This mortal body is going to put on immortality. The promise of resurrection, the promise of eternal life is very strong in the Bible.
Right, right. And I think about another passage, Matthew 25, and the judgment scene where Jesus is separating the sheep from the goats. And in verse 46, he says, "These will go away into eternal punishment." He's talking about those who haven't followed after his commands. And then he says, "But the righteous into eternal life."
The righteous will go into eternal life, and you find that developed extensively in the ministry of Jesus. John is a great example of that. In John chapter 10, where Jesus is talking about the good shepherd, he talks about the thief who comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But then he says, "I'm come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly." Well, where do we find that life? Earlier in John chapter 5, verse 39 and 40, he said to some people, you really search the scriptures because you think that in them you have eternal life. The scriptures are what testifies of me, and yet you will not come to me so that you can have that life. That life is found in Jesus Christ.
Right. The only place we can find eternal life is in Jesus Christ. It is a promise of God. God doesn't lie when it comes to his promises. And we hope that you will be a partaker in that eternal life. And like Brother Ron said, search the scriptures and find out exactly how you can be led to that eternal life in Jesus. We're here available to talk and to study with you if that's something that you feel so inclined to do. Ron, thank you so much for your thoughts today.
Thank you.
And I love doing these videos with you.
It's great.
Had a great time of Bible study, and we will see you, Lord willing, on Sunday.
Have a great day.